Hey, Nikki Brown here. No matter where you are and what part of the world you are in, I hope that you are having a good day. So, I thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Today, I want to talk about being abused by a narcissist for years. Whether you grew up in a household where one of your parents or other relatives were narcissistic as a child, or whether you ended up in a relationship with a narcissist and may have been living with them or married to them for years, or just even in a relationship with that person for years, and you have decided to distance yourself or go no contact, just know and understand that you made the right decision. It's not easy, and I understand because I've done so myself. Um, there will be times when you feel guilty or ashamed or like you need to apologize, but you haven't done anything wrong. So this video is confirmation that you are on the right path and you are doing what you need to do to heal yourself, because you can't keep putting your hand in the fire and not expect to get burned. Now, once you've healed and you feel like you're in a place where you can ignore it, like Dr. Ramani says, when she's around her relatives and they display this narcissistic abuse, she uses it as a way to pamper herself. And she said once she gets to 15, she goes for a massage. So like the first insult, she may go for a walk in the park. I'm just using that as this is an example because I can't remember all of the things that she says she does, because she didn't name all 15, but she did say that once she gets to 15, she has a massage. So like the first insult may be that you go for a walk. The second one may be that you write an entry in your journal. The third may be you treat yourself to something that you like to eat. Um, Although you have to be careful with that because you don't want to start to use the food as comfort, because I know that that's something that I used to do. Because I remember, many of us when we were kids, if we were raised by a narcissist, if you fell or got hurt, it was like, shut up that crying before I give you something to cry about, or take this cookie or this lollipop and shut up. So as an adult, in order to soothe any pain, a lot of us go to food. And that's not to say that if your parent tries to comfort you with food that they were a narcissist. That's not what I'm saying. But if you were raised by a narcissist who didn't show you that emotion and didn't really comfort you emotionally, and they just gave you food, as an adult, you probably started to do that for yourself, right? As a way to comfort yourself and soothe yourself. Whether it be emotional pain, physical pain, mental pain, whatever that looks like, financial pain, whatever stress you were going through, you probably tried to soothe it with food and became an emotional eater. So be careful with that. But basically, the point is that if you decide to go back around your relatives or your ex, whoever this person is in your life, your sister, brother, and you know that they've not changed. They're probably never going to change. Not unless for some reason they decide to have counseling, which probably isn't going to happen because they're probably going to say, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't need to go to counseling. I'm fine. Especially if they have some level of functioning or some level of success. They're probably going to say, I'm fine. I don't need that. You need that. And of course, that's more narcissistic abuse or gaslighting. But again, if you have decided to distance yourself or go no contact, you do not have to feel guilty. You do not have to allow other people to shame you and say, oh, well, you only get one mother, or oh, you only get one father, or oh, you shouldn't be that way. Or, what about the kids? Or what about the grandkids? Because you're doing this for you and your healing. And it is important, again, to not keep sticking your hand in the fire, especially when you know you're going to get burned. Again, these people have not changed. They're probably never going to change. So you know that the insults are coming. You know that the gaslighting is coming. You know that the manipulation is coming. You know that they will try to guilt, shame, and blame you, right? And so, if you definitely have no intentions of ever speaking to these people or this person or these people again, then stand firm. Again, there may be good days and not so good days, because you may feel that sense of obligation, like, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. But again, if this verbal abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse is still affecting you and you're still working on your healing, then it's probably a good idea for you to continue to go no contact. And that's one of the things that Dr. Ramani talks about. um, so, um, of course, you could always find her on YouTube. Dr. Ramani is Ramani. She is considered the world expert on narcissistic abuse. And of course, we're not supposed to diagnose people, but if you know someone who has more of the narcissistic personality traits than not, I think it's 5 or more, then that person may potentially be a narcissist, and you may have potentially experienced narcissistic abuse at some time throughout your relationship with this person. Again, whether it's relative or a friend or a romantic partner or even a coworker or even a boss, right? And you're wondering why you're having conflict with this person at work, and you know that you're not doing anything wrong. This person could potentially be a narcissist. Um, and so, you may decide you are going to change departments or quit the job altogether. Um, but a lot of times, if we needed to learn a lesson from that person, because sometimes we do need to learn less. We need to learn not to be people pleasers. We need to learn that we don't have to apologize for everything. If someone feels bad, you may not necessarily have intentionally tried to make that person feel bad, because what I've learned from Dr. Ramani is narcissism is the lowest form of low self-esteem. So what it is this person has low self-esteem, right? And so really you're not doing anything wrong. So the fact that they feel bad has everything to do with them and nothing to do with you. That person really needs to seek, help. That person probably needs a psychotherapist. To not a psychologist, because they usually provide just give medicine. They don't need someone who's going to give them medicine or a pill. They need someone who's going to actually give them the skills and tools to help them, so that maybe if they get help, maybe if in the past they would have an outburst if they had to wait in a long line. Once they have gotten some help, they may learn to manage that anger in a different way. You know, um, maybe chew a piece of gum. I don't know, whatever that looks like for that person. But they won't just have an outburst. They'll learn to manage their stress differently, instead of just having outbursts or, trying to guilt, shame, blame, and all of the other things that narcissists do to manipulate and gaslight people. To, make them feel comfortable, or to soothe their lack of, their low self-esteem. Because that's what it all boils down to. They want you to do what they want the way that you want them to do it. And if you don't, they get mad and they make you feel guilty. And then especially if you grew up in this type of household, you feel like you have to apologize for everything when you really haven't done anything wrong. And you may even do this instinctively, like, oh, I made someone feel bad. And again, you may not have done so intentionally. But all of a sudden now you feel bad because you find out that this person is hurt by something that maybe you said or did, when, maybe you ate the last piece of bread and, this person really wanted it. And they, again, make you feel guilty. But why is it okay that they got the last piece of bread and you didn't? I'm just using that as an example. But anyway, Again, there will be good days and not so good days because it's not easy, especially if it was a relative or a spouse that you were with for years. Um, but again, if you made that decision, you did so for your own sake. Um, and willfully, you're in a place of forgiveness. You've forgiven yourself for allowing these behaviors to affect you. And maybe you forgive that person for trying to affect you because they're really not, in their mind, they don't know that they're doing anything wrong, right? Um, they think this is how they're supposed to behave. So they're quote unquote doing what they are supposed to do. And they're not looking at the fact that it's hurting your feelings. They may say you're too sensitive, or, say something else that's just dismissive and not acknowledging what you're feeling or thinking, because they don't have any sense of accountability and responsibility, right? So they're just operating from the place that they know how to protect themselves and their low self-esteem, whatever caused it or whatever the reason is. And they show up in the world accordingly. So again, they may not think that they're doing anything wrong, but in the meantime, they're constantly hurting you day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And this is affecting you. And again, even though it's not intentional, it's still affecting you. And it is considered verbal abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, could even be potentially physical abuse. So mental, emotional, physical, it could even be financial abuse. If you have someone that's stealing from you or, you know, squandering the finances, gambling, it could show up in so many different ways. Again, either in a relationship with relatives or a romantic relationship or friends or co-workers. And so again, if you've decided, hey, I can't take this anymore. This is too much. I've been dealing with this for years and it's starting to affect my emotional health. Or it's starting to affect my body because the body keeps the score. So if you're wondering why you have headaches or why you have back pain or spasms, um, heart condition, anything that you have going on in your body, if you're around someone who is a psychopath, a sociopath, a narcissist, that could be one of the things that's causing this dis-ease or pain in your body. Because we're not meant to deal with this constant stress day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. Now, when you go out into the outside world, you don't know what to expect. So there may be some stress that you encounter, right? But when you come home or when you're talking to your relatives, you should be able to, get some type of relief. You should have some type of peace, some type of comfort. So if you go to work and you have stress, and then you come home and you have stress, it's going to affect your body, right? And you don't have to feel guilty and ashamed about that because that's going to cause even more pain in your body. And again, it's not easy, but we have to learn how to cope. Especially the longer you keep your distance from the people who have hurt you, the better off you will be. And again, you may decide you want to distance yourself for maybe 3 to 5 years and then you show up for Thanksgiving one year. Or you may decide again that, you've dealt with this for decades and you just want to completely go no contact and never deal with these people again. And, if that is your decision, respect your own decision. Don't let anyone else make you feel guilty, and stand in your truth. If you have those moments where, it's hard for you to bear, write it down. Go for a walk. Get yourself a massage. Go have a pedicure. Go get a manicure. Do something for yourself. Treat yourself to something that you like to eat. Go get your hair done or a haircut. I would say do some retail therapy, but again, you have to be careful with that as well because you don't want it to become an obsession or an addiction. Everything in moderation. Like I said, Dr. Ramani says after 15 insults, then she goes to have a massage. So if you want to do something on that scale, then that will probably be great for you. You can always watch videos or read books about narcissism and narcissistic abuse or psychopaths, sociopaths. And, I don't like to use the word victim, but, you know, if you've had these experiences, you may need to get help as well. So maybe you need to seek counseling or even a life coach, because maybe this is keeping you stuck and stagnant and you're ready to move forward and move away from, what ails you, whether it be physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. Did I say mentally or psychologically? And don't beat yourself up. Again, you don't have to be a people pleaser. You don't have to apologize every time someone gets hurt, especially if you didn't intentionally do something wrong. I'm not saying don't apologize, but sometimes people get hurt because they want attention and you're not giving them attention. And so, of course, that's not intentional. So don't apologize for that. If your relatives want you to come over for Thanksgiving and you're not healed, and and your answer is no, then accept your own no. And don't feel bad about it. Right? Find something else to do with your time, or spend time with other relatives that are healthy, that you have healthy relationships with. Or spend time by yourself and cook something that you really like, watch something that you really like. Again, if you need to, if it's really that painful, write, journal, turn it into a book. Take a class, take a hobby. You could learn to crochet or knit or sew or fix bikes, fix cars, whatever that looks like. Right? So I hope that this was helpful, because again, I know that it's not easy, and I know that from personal experience, going into contact with your relatives who have been verbally, mentally, emotionally, financially, or even physically abusive towards you is not the easiest thing to do, especially when you have people who say, oh, well, you only have one this, or you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't be like that. And sometimes you might have to tell people, this is my life and this is my decision, and I'm okay with my decision. And then, of course, they'll say, well, I wish my so-and-so was still here. I wish that person was still here too, for your sake. But as for mine, this is the decision I've made, and I accept my decision, and I respect my own decision. And I apologize. No, I don't apologize. It is unfortunate if you don't understand, because people who have not been through what you've been through will never understand. If someone never grew up with a narcissistic father, and they will never understand you not speaking to your father if they have a closer relationship with their father. They'll never ever understand. They couldn't even imagine it, right? Because they didn't experience the same type of abuse. It's not the same as, oh, my dad wanted me to go to college and I didn't want to go. They don't understand that it's much deeper than that. Although that could have something to do with, because again, if your father was narcissistic and you don't do what he wants you to do, then it becomes more of a problem. He's like, I'm cutting you off. Some of them will give you the silent treatment. All sorts of things that they will do because you're not doing what they want you to do. And so they're not controlling you in a way that they want to. And And everything's fine if you stay within the parameters that they want you to be in. But as soon as you step outside that box and start to think for yourself, then they're mad. Right? They get mad. And they do all sorts of things to retaliate or seek vengeance, whether it's intentional or unintentional. Because now their goal is to put you back in your place, right? Because how dare you think you're better than me? Or how dare you think, not do what I tell you to do, right? I was even told one time I'm on a high horse, as if I'm not humble. So you have to ignore people, right? Because again, they're just trying to guilt, shame, and blame you to get you to do what they want you to do, to get you to conform and get in line with what they want you to do. Because you stepped out of line. And they want you to come fall back in line. And you don't have to. Again, you can go no contact. And, it's for your own health. It's for your own peace of mind. This is not for anyone else. This is not for show. It's not for Facebook. It's not for the gram. It's not for Twitter. It's not for TikTok. It's not for Snapchat. This is for you, your mental health and your well-being, right? So I hope that was helpful. And as always, I love y'all. Continue to heal if you are on your healing journey. And just know that it's a lifelong process. Especially if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and you're just starting your healing journey. If it took decades for you to deal with this situation, it's going to take a while for you to, heal. So you have to make a conscious effort every day to stay on that path. Right? And if you do go back into the lion's den and you get bit, just come on out and lick your wounds and start over. Or, pick up where you left off. And then decide, okay, I'm going to go no contact again for maybe a few years. I know people who don't go around. I know one person who goes around their family every 3 years. And I know someone else who goes around their family every 5 years. So you have to do what you feel comfortable with. And again, some people decide that they're never going to make contact again. And if, because if it's too toxic, you don't need to keep putting your hand in the fire. You don't need to walk into the lion's den knowing that you are going to get mauled. Again, whether this person is intentionally doing it or not, doesn't mean that person doesn't love you. Doesn't mean they do love you. Sometimes they don't know how to love you because they're not loving themselves. Because their self-esteem is low. Again, narcissism is the lowest form of self-esteem. So their self-esteem is in the basement. And they don't know how to climb the stairs to get out. And they're never going to acknowledge the fact that they need help. Because again, they're the type of people who are not accountable and responsible for their actions. And that's it. So again, I hope that this was helpful. As always, I love y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you would like a coaching session with me, you can book an appointment on my website at www.lovetrainingcoach.com. If you would like some gemstones to wear, which I don't have mine on now, if you would like some gemstones to help you with your healing journey, you can order those at www.circa2009.com. That's www.circa2009.com. As always, I love y'all. Mwah.